Tavares.
Right in the butt?
What?
No.
Less than a minute now.
Tool time for 200.
This term for a long-handled gardening tool can also mean an immoral pleasure seeker. Ken?
What's a hoe?
No.
Spell garbage.
Garbitch.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And if it is your first time, welcome to the channel. I'm Monk Dan. What I like to do on my channel is I like to seek and share wisdom through philosophy. Right? All right, check it out. Today's topic, other self. What does that mean? No worries, I'll talk about that in just a bit. Two things that I will talk about today. The topic, which is other self. But before I get into that topic, I'm going to talk about a previous topic that we ended the stream on, which was Casanova, chapter 3. But we're going to talk about the aspect of stamina. And what I mean about stamina is stamina, male stamina, testosterone, if you will, and how that plays a part in Casanova's life. And around this time, Casanova is a young man. He's about between 18 and 20 years old, and how that plays a part in the youth, and then how that affects the older generation or older people like myself. I'm 40 years old. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, so like I said, last stream we talked about Casanova, and I talked about some things in his life, but the biggest thing that I wanted to end the stream about was, I don't want to say a downfall, but the distractions, if you will, that was facing his life at this very young age, which is his lust. He has this strong lust. He's 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, sex is on his mind. He's driven. Testosterone is boiling through his body. He just want to fuck everything, right? And I don't want to say criticize or critiqued him, but I just wanted to point that out, that was an issue in his life. Why was that an issue? Yeah, he's getting sex. He's fucking bitches, right? He's fucking sisters. He's having threesomes. He's doing his thing, right? But the problem is, if you look at his life as of right now, he is finding himself in a very bad situation, meaning he finds himself homeless. He's finding himself in jail. He's just distracted, and he's not on his purpose, right? And what I concluded from all of that is because of his lust. He has that testosterone boiling through his body, and he's distracted, and he's only doing what nature has given him to do, is to procreate or to have sex, if you will. And so how does that tie into the topic that I wanted to talk about in terms of the first half of this stream, is with us 40-year-olds and stamina. And my question is to us older guys, 40 years old and older. Has your stamina decreased, or are you still kind of in Casanova's mindset of, or not mindset, but if you have this high testosterone and you still banging them out, you know? And I wanted to know that, you know, for myself, I'm 40 years old. I've noticed some changes. So like Casanova, my testosterone was high, and I had that high energy and just wanted to bang, 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 you know? I wanted to do that, right? And I found myself like Casanova, distracted, man. I lost my purpose. And that's how we got into Napoleon Hill, outwitting the devil. And we'll get into that in just a bit. And I realized that I found myself like Casanova, distracted and not fulfilling my purpose. And so now here I am, I'm 40 years old, but I noticed a huge difference in terms of my focus. So now I'm 40 years old, and I noticed that my stamina has decreased. And us guys, we don't talk about these things. So here is my channel sharing wisdom, I'm just sharing wisdom and trying to figure out what's going on with us guys. If other guys are experiencing this, for myself, I can honestly say that I've experienced a low. I shouldn't say low. I'm not gonna say low. I can tell you that my stamina, comparing my stamina from when I was 18 to now, 40 years old, I can tell you that there's a huge. Well, I'm not gonna say huge. I can tell you that there's a decrease. And why do I say that? How do I know this? I haven't been to a doctor in terms of knowing my my levels, testosterone levels. I have not done that per se. But this is just a conversation of me knowing my body and knowing who I am and my experiences, if you will. I'm in these streets, but that's coming to an end, man. I gotta focus, man. I'm focused on getting my freedom, man, and succeeding. So that kind of goes into the conversation. But yeah, I noticed the difference. So I noticed that now I don't think with the little head. I think more with the big head. I'm thinking. I'm trying to process and learn and put myself in great positions to become wealthy. And so that's one thing I did notice. I'm like, damn, I don't think about sex all the time and make decisions based on my lust. I use logic and reasoning to guide me in a sense. No, I'm not perfect. I don't want anyone to believe that or think that. But, however, I try my best to think rationally rather than emotionally. But yeah, us guys, man, think about that, man. If we can talk about that. Have you seen any decrease in your stamina? Yeah, I'm not Casanova's age anymore. I'm not 18. So I can't knock him out the park all the time, But if we can get a little bit more deeper into the conversation, how do I what does affect stamina? What I noticed, one huge thing that does affect stamina is the type of partner that you engage in activities with. What do I mean? So I'm 40 years old, and for me to engage with someone that's 40 years old and above, my stamina is not there. The hormones, it's not there. And on top of that, the motives or the experience, it's not the same. It's not. So if I'm 40 and she's 40, our experiences are light years apart. What do I mean? So I'm just starting life and exploring and having opportunities. What do I mean? So when I was Casanova's age, 18, 19, 20, I wasn't like Casanova. I was not that guy. I'm still not that guy. And I'm not getting the experiences he had, threesomes, banging out sisters and all of that. I'm not getting those experiences at 18, 19, 20. I'm not getting that now. You feel me? But I'm just starting to get those experiences and learning how to set an arrangement, if you will, in the standards and what I'm looking for and in engaging with a woman, right? So I'm just starting, and a lot of my troubles that I can tell you that I had then were financial or economic problems. Let's just be honest. It costs to be the boss. All men pay. Let's call it what it is. And so I grew up in an era where one thing was R&B. You had the simp music where I was trained to be romantic with a woman, and that's how you gain her love, her access. And we find out that's some bullshit. That's one reason why I ended up in the back of the fucking pack, because I was like, I'm coming at this shit with the fucking soft ass bullshit, and that ain't what the women wanted. I get that now. Two, I wasn't thuggo. I'm not thuggo. I wasn't this dude that's gangster. I wasn't, I wasn't that guy, and I don't want to be that guy. So that kind of took me out of the range. And then a third thing, growing up, you had to have a cold mouthpiece. You had to hit them with the boo, you had to hit them with all of that kind of stuff, right? I wasn't that guy. I didn't have no mouthpiece, man. I wasn't a player, I wasn't all of that. I wasn't pimping. I wasn't cold with the pimping. I wasn't that guy. And so I tried all those things when I was Casanova's age, 18, 19, 20, even all the way up to my mid 20s. I just wasn't that guy, man. And so I spent a lot of my time in failure, chasing and not succeeding majority of the time. And then if I did get some success, it was with gorditas, if you will. No shade to gorditas. Shout out to San Antonio. But yeah, man, it wasn't the best of the best, if you will. And let's just be honest, guys, fellas, it costs to be the boss. You're not fit to pull no dime. You're not fit to get no top-notch model with your mouthpiece. Some guys might luck up, but in most cases, you're not gonna do that. Shout out to 6'8" the Great, man. That dude there, man. I'm not 6'8" the Great. I'm me, man. And so yeah. So when I was 18, 19, mid 20s, man, I was striking out a lot. So how does that change, right? So I had all that stamina and I'm distracted. But now that I'm 40 and I have a lot of wisdom, or I'm gaining a lot of wisdom on how to engage myself, right? So I'm just starting, right? And so now if I were to pair myself up with a female that's 40, she has already been through the gambit. She's been hung dry. She's been out there, She already been married. She already got kids. She's been divorced once, twice. All of these things, man. She's been out there, man. And so for me to compare with that, it's like it's an unequal balance, right? So how does that apply to the stamina aspect? Bro, it's not gonna be there. It's not gonna be there. Then her body, let's just be honest. Typically, a woman that's 40 and up, her body is not going to be, she's not in her prime calico. She's not in her prime physical state. So here I am, I'm 40 and I'm like, okay, I'm finally getting opportunities. And now I got to see her body after being 40 with kids, after being divorced 2 times, so I'm getting the leftovers, if you will. Right? So that affects my stamina. And if us guys can be honest, does that affect yours? Because it affects mine, right? Other things that I'm thinking that affects stamina is exercise, yo. Are we exercising? So I try to exercise at least 4 to 5 times a week, man. I do give myself a break once or twice a day if I can't make it, if my schedule is crazy. I do be fucking sad when I cannot work out. I don't know if you can see my gains. I got a little something. I got a little something. I try to look. I try to give my gains. Look at that. So I love working out, man. So I don't think exercising is the problem per se. I do need to work on my cardio though. For me, man, I despise cardio. So that may be a way to increase my stamina, if you will. The foods that we eat can be a problem. So myself, I'm not a health nut. There's a lot of things that I can improve on with my food intake, if you will. But I try to eat as clean as possible. For me, I drink only water and orange juice. I don't drink alcohol or beer or anything. I have drunk beer and all that stuff like that. Smoking, I don't smoke or anything like that. I'm not against any of that. I'm just older now and I'm just like, it just doesn't really affect, it doesn't help me to the road to success, if you will. So I don't partake in it. I don't want anybody to think I despise those things. That's just not my thing. I don't go out to clubs or anything, so I don't find myself chasing out there in the streets anymore. So I don't think that affects my stamina. But I eat well as much as I can, exercise pretty often. And as far as my experiences with women in terms of the age gaps and stuff like that, I aim for a woman that's more in her prime. I'll give you an example, a personal example, if you don't mind me kind of riffing a little bit. I had a JUCO in the Pacific West, man, and wow, right? And so I had caught a flight. This is pretty recent. I caught a flight to go see her and everything, and I love the Pacific Northwest, man. I love that area. Ah, it's so beautiful out there. I'm talking about Washington and Oregon. So she had to remind me. She was like, our bodies in terms of our hormones, it's going to be different. She reminded me because I was thinking, because I'm off the flight, and the flight wasn't too bad, but just the time zones. I'm in the mountain time zone, and she's in a Pacific region, so time zones is a slight difference, and so on and so forth. But anyway, we had enjoyed ourselves, and she kept telling me, she was like, "Yo, the hormones, and I was like, okay." But with that being said, the stamina was there. I was there. Now I did have to take some breaks every now and then. So fellas, for the guys 40 and up, are y'all experiencing these things? Let me know, man. But for myself, man, when I'm with someone that's in her prime, totally different experience. Totally different experience. Although I do need to take breaks, but if the energy is there, the experience level is there, it's a pair, it's a match, So I'm like, man, I love that. So although my stamina is not fully like I want it, like I'm comparing it to 18, I'm still there. But it has to be with someone that's in her prime for that experience to be great. So I'm like, okay. So I don't know if I'm just sharing a little bit of wisdom. So I'm hoping that might be your issue, guys. I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor. I can't say what the issue is. I'm not taking any pills or anything. Thankfully, I'm so thankful for that. I try not to watch prawn as much. I do watch it every now and then, but they say that does affect it. So I try to minimize that. However, if you look on social media, Instagram and all these, I mean, damn near you're seeing softcore prawn, if you will, or corn, if you will. So we're still kind of seeing the same thing. So I try my best to minimize it, the hardcore stuff. But I do see softcore, if you will, on the social media sites. I try to sleep well, and we can kind of get a bit about that into the topic of other self. Let's go and get into it. So let me know what you think about the first topic about the stamina 40 guys that are 40 and up. Let us know, man. Let me know what you think about that, and share me your ideas on if you're facing these issues, not facing these issues. Are you still that guy that's 18? Is there anything that I can do to improve in mine without taking any drugs? I don't want to take any pills, any drugs. I'm just not there, man. I'm not a guy that likes to take medications or anything. The only thing that I do take is vitamins, and that's because I don't really get out into the sun. Man, I hate the sun, bro. I do not like the sun, so I do need some vitamins for that. But other than that, man, I'm okay, and I want to keep it that way, So let me know your thoughts. How does that transition into the topic that we're going to talk about here? Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. The Secrets to Freedom and Success by Sharon Lechter. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Lechter, Lechter. How does that relate to this topic? So with Casanova, he was distracted, man. Distracted off his purpose. And like I said, he's thinking with the little head. And as I'm older, now I can think with the big head now. So with that being said, I want to gain success. I want to gain freedom, right? So the topic of today's lesson or discussion is other self. What in the freak does that mean, right? And this is coming from chapter 1. And I'll just give a small, brief synopsis of how we even got on this topic or how I even got that name, other self. What is other self? All right, so check it. So Napoleon Hill, he set out to write about successful individuals and unsuccessful or failures, people who have failed. And that could be in the business sense, so on and so forth. Right. So he set out to write about these people, what made them successful, what did not make them successful. And so he comes along this one particular person, Andrew Carnegie, right? And so Andrew Carnegie is like, yeah, man, that sounds cool that you, I commend you for wanting to learn about what makes people successful, what makes them unsuccessful. But he puts him on game. Andrew Carnegie puts Napoleon Hill on game. He was like, look, so check this out. If you really want to unlock some true levels of discovery for yourself, I want you to find out about, let me get the wording. I want to make sure I get the wording correctly. Let me get the wording correctly. He's basically, in a nutshell, because I don't want to misquote him. How about I'll read a little bit of the, I'll read just a little tag. How about that? I'll read a tag because I want to, the way that he worded it was so amazing. So anyway, this is Andrew Carnegie talking. Let's see. If you undertake this job, and he's given him a task. He's given Napoleon Hill a task. He's like, yo, if you want to write about the people who succeeded and all that, that's awesome. But I want to give you this small task that can be very helpful to your life. And he says, if you undertake this job, you should interview not only the few who have succeeded, but the many who have failed. You should carefully analyze many thousands of people who have been classified as failures. And I mean by the term failures, men and women who come to the closing chapter of life disappointed because they did not attain the goal which they had set their hearts upon achieving. As inconsistent as it may seem, you will learn more about how to succeed from the failures that you will from the so-called successes. They will teach you what not to do. Along toward the end of your labor, this is where he's getting to the point of the other self. He says, along toward the end of your labor, if you carry it through successfully, you will make a discovery which may be a great surprise to you. You will discover the cause of the success is not something separate and apart from the man, that it is a force so intangible in nature that the majority of men never recognize it. A force which might be properly called the other self. Noteworthy is the fact that this other self seldom exerts its influence and makes itself known, excepting at times of unusual emergency. When men are forced through adversity and temporary defeat to change their habits and to think their way out of difficulty. My experience has taught me that a man is never quite so near success as when that which he calls failure has overtaken him, for it is on occasions of this sort that he is forced to think. If he thinks accurately and with persistence, he discovers that so-called failure usually is nothing more than a signal to rearm himself with a new plan or purpose. Most real failures are due to limitations which men set upon in their own minds. If they had the courage to go one step further, they would discover their error. That is how we got to the title Other Self. And I'll continue the story right now. So Andrew Carnegie hits him with this powerful word right here. And he hits him with it. So Napoleon accepts it. He's like, okay, I got, all right. You told me all this good stuff. It sounds great. All right, cool. So he goes off. Napoleon goes off. He's going from job to job, and he's unhappy. I mean, he's succeeding though. That's the thing about it. He starts his own magazine. He's starting businesses after businesses, and they're succeeding. He's succeeding, but he was like, I just can't do this. I quit. He would leave the business that he's successful in, and his reasoning is he was like, man, I'm just unhappy. Shit would start happening at the job. Might have some disagreements, and he was just like, this ain't it. So he would quit. And it was until then, when he got into that emergency, that unusual emergency, that's when he started to uncover or discover what Andrew Carnegie was talking about, the other self. And so the first time he found himself in a city, I want to say Canton, Ohio, he found himself for the first time with no money, broke, and he was stuck in that city. So he didn't know how to maneuver himself. So he gathered himself through the other self. He got it. And so things started to pick up for him. He started getting back into it. And then he finds another guy that was willing to invest in him. Millet is his last name, Millet. He was Napoleon Hill was speaking at a school, I believe it was, and this guy Millet separated from whatever he was doing to invest in Napoleon Hill. He was like, man, I like that speech, and yeah, I'm backing you up, buddy. So everything was going well, and then until the guy Millet got killed, and some guys. So allegedly that the guy Millet was uncovering some dirty shit that was happening, and those guys, they killed him, and it was some corruption that he was uncovering, and so they thought Napoleon Hill was a part of the uncovering of their dirty deeds. Napoleon had nothing to do with it, but those guys was like, if you don't get out of town, your ass next, right? So Napoleon did what he was supposed to do. He got the hell out of there, right? And that fucked his mind up. I mean, he just went into a dark place of solitude. Like he just, if you think about it, if somebody was out to kill you, you're gonna be, he shut down. So everything that he's that momentum that he had just shut all down. And so eventually he goes outside. He started to acclimate himself outside. Well, this one particular time he went outside, and I think he was walking around the school, and he was trying to motivate himself. And then that's when it just clicked for him again that he had to unlock that discovery of oneself, the other self, once again, and it finally unlocked for him. And so now he's putting himself. It ends with him putting himself in a mindset to succeed. And we'll talk about a little bit more of it. I'll read some more passages from from the chapter 1. And so he's putting himself in different situations. Although he's not successful now. He's working himself back into getting himself back to where he needs to be. And now he's motivating himself. He's using that spirit or the faith, if that was a word that they use, of the other self, that force to get himself back into it. So he's putting himself in positions to where he needs to be. And I thought that was a really good topic, man. Not only for myself, but I want to share that information with someone else because it may be helpful for someone else. Right now we're at 30 minutes, so I'm okay. Because I've made some streams, previous streams, and It's tough, man. The economics of our country is fucking tough right now. We're going through a lot of changes, man. I just got off a stream with Coach Greg Adams. We have a group called The Money Mindset. And the first thing that he talked about in this stream was UPS. They're in the process of letting their drivers go. I guess they're giving them some sort of option to leave, some sort of package, if you will, to leave. And it was sad because I remember Coach sometime last year, he was just making a stream saying, hey, man, hey, UPS saying, hey, they're hiring drivers at these high ranges of salary. And now here it is a year later. Now they're saying, yep, we're going to let them go. And so our economy is trash right now, man. The rich are getting richer. The poor are getting poorer. There's no fucking middle class. That shit is getting wiped the fuck out. Myself, I'm a blue collar worker. I'm a railroader. I'm in my third month. I have not completed my third month, but I'm in my third month of not getting paid. That's how scary this shit is, man. I have not gotten paid. I've been out of work. My company, what they're doing is, so they had me furloughed, but now they put me on the boards. But there's no work out here. There's not enough work, man. So, and then we got AI coming out, taking jobs. You have the big, beautiful bill out. If you support that, that's fine. That's your business. I'm not for or against it, but I can tell you it's not benefiting me, the railroader. A lot of when we do get overtime, when we have overtime, so some people like from my understanding, the people that are like bartenders and all of those guys, they're not getting taxed supposedly in this bill. If I understand that correctly, they're not getting taxed for the overtime. They left the railroaders out. They left the railroaders out of this. And for us, when we work, man, when it's thriving, sometimes, many times, overtime is there. Like we're working on trains hours. And so I'm like, damn, I'm getting railroaded. Go figure. No pun intended, but I'm getting fucked in so many damn ways in this economy, man. I told y'all about my previous stream, how I'm a veteran and I can't even go to President Trump has put it in the hands of the doctors to reject veteran patients of their health care. I'm like, wow. This economy is freaking me out, or it did freak me out. And I was at the point of like, man, like what the fuck, man? That is the point of this right here, chapter 1. This is what Andrew Carnegie and this is what Napoleon Hill are talking about. This is the point that I need for myself, the other self. To develop this right now, to get my mindset, kick this gear that I have within me to overcome this. Because they're not giving any answers. And Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill have said to me, even the author, your answers are not going to come from the president, politicians, these jobs, these corporations. My answers are not going to come from them. My answers are going to come from me, man. And that's why I was like, yo, this is very important that I share this information, this wisdom, that I share this, man. Let's get into it a little bit. Let's talk about it a little bit. So once again, just a quick reminder of what the fuck other self is. And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I'm just going to condense it a little bit. Andrew Carnegie says, you will discover that the cause of success is not something separate and apart from the man. So The cause of me to succeed is not something that's separate from me. I don't have to look to the president. I don't have to look to a corporation. I don't have to look in any of those places. It's here. It's in me to succeed. It's a force so intangible in nature that the majority of men never recognize it. That is crazy. The majority, he said, the majority of men, we don't recognize it, yo. That's insane, man. And Andrew Carnegie, I don't know his full history, but I can tell you he is one of the prominent figures in our culture, wealthiest men in our country. He's saying that, yo, a lot of men don't know this. Did you know this? He calls it the other self. It's within you. He said a force which might be properly called the other self. Noteworthy is the fact that that this other self seldom exerts its influence or makes itself known excepting at times of unusual emergency. So damn, it's when emergency hits. I don't know about you, but this is an emergency. I have not gotten paid. This is my third month, my third fucking month. I have not gotten paid. Some people say, hey, why don't you do the unemployment? I've never done unemployment. To be honest with you, I'm like, damn, I don't even know how to apply for the shit. I just don't know how to operate with that. But this is an unusual emergency in my life. I told you when I came from traveling and I went to go get some groceries, I had picked up a few items, and those items came out to be $81 and some change. I'm a single male, no kids, never been married, no girlfriend, no kids. And my bill came out $80 something. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But this is an unusual emergency. I haven't been working. How the fuck am I supposed to take care of myself? But this is an unusual emergency. Napoleon Hill was in the same fucking exact situation. He found himself, I want to say it was Canton, Ohio. He found himself in a place where he had no money. This dude was successful. It was like everything he touched, it was gold. And he found himself broke. When men are forced through adversity and temporary defeat, to change their habits and to think their way out of difficulty. I got to think my way out of this. I have to think my way out of this. I'm determined to be successful. I'm determined to be wealthy. I'm determined to boss the fuck up. I cannot be poor, bro. I've been homeless before. That is the worst. I was at the lowest of the low. I was at the lowest of the lowest. And I was so thankful for the little that I had, because I was like, damn, if I did not have the little that I had while I was homeless, my life would have been crazier. But here's that moment, man. Here's that moment he's talking about, that I have to think my way out of this difficulty. It's here. I got it. I know I can do this shit. And I'm encouraging you as well, man. I'm like, I know we can do this. But it's for those who can discover the other self, though. He said majority men won't find this shit out. We won't figure it out. But I'm going to figure it out. Watch me, man. Watch me. Watch my journey. I'm determined, bro. I'm determined. I cannot afford this shit. It's expensive being poor. It's expensive, man. It's terrible being poor, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? And you be like, what? I mean, how did that? You like, that doesn't make sense. How is it expensive being poor? But here's the thing. If you're poor, first of all, they're going to tax the shit out of you. Look at the big, beautiful bill, man. It's giving passes to the wealthy. It's giving passes to the wealthy. Tax cuts to the wealthy. You didn't hear any tax cuts for your broke ass. My broke ass. We don't hear tax cuts for us, but the wealthy are getting tax cuts. It's expensive. We are paying. We're going to foot the bill. These tariffs and shit, that shit is coming right back to us, the consumer. It's expensive being poor, bro. It's expensive, man. Healthcare. I told you my healthcare is in limbo right now. It's in limbo. It's expensive being poor. So if my healthcare is taken away and I'm already in question about my job, I'm practically ass out again. So I kind of go back to my conversation earlier. I was like, man, that drinking and smoking, that shit, man, that shit ain't gonna be beneficial to me, man. It's not gonna be beneficial to my health. So I'm thinking rationally, like, yo, yeah, I've been drinking that cold beer and throwing back tequila shots. Man, that ain't me, man. I can't do that. I'm not against it. Hey, if that's what you choose to do, that's fine, man. But I can't afford that shit. I have to be very cautious about that. So if my healthcare goes away and if something happens, man, who's gonna take care of him? I don't have the means, the financial backing to take care of myself. If my veteran healthcare goes away, what about the food? I just told you I went to the grocery store and my little amount of food was $81 and some change. I'm paying more for nothing. I don't know, man. Let me know what you think about that, man. Please. I'll read a little bit more of this page and we'll continue, man. There was so many nuggets in this thing, man. So many fucking nuggets. And I said, in my previous streams, I was like, I'm not going to talk about it all, but I have to cover this one, man, because there's so many. The most important thing that I want you to know is what I'm telling you right now. The other self. If you are a man, and I'm only talking to the men, I can only talk to the men. I can only talk to us, man, because our lives are different from women. Women, they can just point at the twat and somebody gonna get it. And they can get a few bucks and keep going. They're gonna survive that way. We can't survive that way, man. We can't just point out our schlong and be like, okay, it don't work that way for us. We gotta get out here and get it. We gotta grind. We gotta mastermind our ways through this shit. We gotta create shit. So that's why I can only speak to the men. I can't talk to the women. I don't know what to say to them. But yeah, the most important thing that I want you to take from this is the other self, man. Andrew Carnegie is saying that majority of men never recognize this. So there's only a select few men that get this. And I want to be that select few to understand this and overcome this unusual emergency. That's the most important thing that I want you to know of this. So we'll talk about it a little bit more. I'll keep continuing. I don't want to belabor the point right there. Let's see. Yeah, that's talking about how he was starting to switch to different jobs. I mean, everything was going good for this guy, man. Napoleon Hill, man. I mean, things were going well for him, and he could have just sucked it up, Buttercup, and said, you know what, cool, man. Let me see. Let me go back here. They talked about so he had began a publication of the Golden Rule magazine. Despite the fact that I did not have a penny of capital, the magazine grew rapidly, and soon gained a nationwide circulation of nearly 500,000, ending its first year's business with a profit of $3,156. And they did a cash, the cash currency of being in there, and they compared it, and they said it was 45,000 based on today's consumer price index. So he made 45,000 in profit in just 1 year, man. Just as an example of how successful this dude was, man. I mean, damn, can you use 45K? I mean, I could use 45K right now. I definitely could use that shit. You feel me? So that's what I mean about how successful this guy was. But he just walked away. He was like, man, just slight things just affected him, man. And that's kind of how I am with my job right now. I'm not saying that I'm making money or anything like that, because I just told you I'm in my third month of not getting paid. But these things, these changes, man, being furloughed sucks, bruh. And my first year, because I've been with the railroad a year and a half, if ish, if you will, maybe a little bit more of a year and a half, maybe. And during my training, I completed my training, and then I got furloughed, and that sucked. And I was like, man, this shit don't feel good, man. This was my first time ever experiencing a furlough. And I went chasing work. The first time it sucked. And I was like, fuck, man. I'm hungry, though. I need to get this money. And I traveled far again. And I was like, this shit ain't working for me, man. And in my spirit, just like how I was supposed to say Casanova, but Napoleon Hill, how Napoleon Hill, he was having these experiences. And he's like, something is like, it's not right. I got to walk away. But me, still with the railroad, I was like, man, I'm going to just hang in there. I'm going to just hang in there, right? And so I think I got furloughed maybe a few more times that time. But then I was like, no, I'm going to hang in there. So everything started to look better, right? There was some small things with the railroad, man. It's not kind to the employee. That's why we have these unions and all of this, man, because it's a very it's unpleasant to the worker. But anyway, I hung in there, completed a year, and so now I want to say this is the first furlough of this year for me. So I got furloughed like towards the end of March, May, June. Let's see, May. No, maybe the end of May. Because May, June, July. So maybe the end of somewhere. I want to say that maybe the end of May, somewhere close there. Says this is June, July. So no, I was furloughed for May. April. Anyway, it's been a long time. I haven't had a check in damn near 3 months. This is the third month. I'm in my third month. Because 2 months I have not gotten paid. But anyway, but I'm saying all that to say though, these experiences, man, it's causing some disturbance within my spirit, my mind. Like, yo, something's not right, man. And then I'm listening about AI coming and people losing their jobs, UPS, so on and so forth, white collar jobs, this replacement. You know, I'm listening and learning. I'm like, ooh, okay, something's not right. I know I'm not going crazy. My spirit is unsettled. I'm like, oh, I gotta, something's not right. And so that's where I am right now. Just like Napoleon Hill was, right? Let me find some more parts that I can talk about in here that can be very helpful to you, man. And the author is chiming in. The author has notes as well. This is the notes from the author. The author said, well, let me read before what Napoleon Hill has talked about. Napoleon said, for nearly 2 months, I suffered with the worst of all human ailments, indecision. Kind of damn near like my situation right now. 2 months, 3 months. And he said, I knew the 17th principles of personal achievement, but what I did not know was how to apply them. Kind of like right now. So with me discovering the other self, it's like, okay, now I got to apply this shit now. Now I'm in the process of applying this to my life. Without knowing it, I was facing one of those emergencies of life through which Mr. Carnegie had told me, men sometimes discover their other selves. That's exactly where I am right now. Now I'm fixed to put this shit into practice and use and break through this, man. I'm fixed to break through this shit, bro. I'm going to discover it, man. And so the author chimes in at the end, at the bottom, and says, kind of reinstates what Andrew Carnegie says, the worst of all human ailments, indecision. And the author says, have you ever felt paralyzed by indecision? This was the first major turning point in Napoleon Hill's life. His moving from job to job, seeking contentment and his own ideal professional life. Sounds like many people today, like myself, man. People who are seeking contentment in their job and lives. That was me. I was seeking contentment with the railroad. I was like, yo, that's why I stuck it in. So I'm like at the bottom of the seniority board, meaning they do it in numbers. And so I'm fairly like a new recent employee at our terminal. And there's some other classes that came behind me or, after me. And some of those guys, and I was looking for some of these other guys, I don't even see them on the board. So I'm like, damn. But I admire those guys now because when I saw them, I was like, damn, why did they quit? I was like, damn, I didn't get to see the new hires. they quit. And I was like, damn, like, fuck, man. But I admire those guys because they knew something wasn't right and they got the fuck out of here. I don't know where they went. I don't know what they're doing with their lives. But they said, fuck this shit. But me, on the other hand, I was trying to seek contentment in my position. I was like, man, okay, just stick it out. Just stick it out. You know, that's what the old heads were saying. Man, just stick it out. The first 5 years is going to be tough being a railroader, but everything is going to be fine. And that's the mindset I was thinking, like, yo, you know, I don't want to be doing this job, the job type shit. That's the mindset I had just right here. I was seeking contentment. And lo and behold, man, that was not meant for me to do. Hill's predicament was, by his own admission, it's my own admission, self-inflicted. However, he found himself in very much the same circumstances as someone today who has been negatively affected by the present economic situation. That's me right now. I am living this right fucking now. I'm living this right now. Hill took advantage of his temporary defeat, using it as a spur to force himself into thought and analysis to find his other self. I am there right now. I am there right now. I needed this. I'm so glad yesterday, man, if you were rocking with my show yesterday, I told you I was going to read this, and I read this shit, the first chapter. And this is my life right now. This is my life right now. The economy is kicking my ass. But have no fear. I'm talking to myself. Have no fear. And I'm talking to you if you're listening. Have no fear. Have no fear. You have to find your other self. You have to find it. This is the only way you can overcome this, is by finding your other self. If you have been dealt a blow by economic circumstances, you too can use it as a lever and motivation to find your other self. This is from the author here. Find your other self, man. Find it. Find it. There's some more things in here. There's some more things. Just a few more things that I wanted to share. This is kind of where he's talking about, he's looking back he's looking back at himself, and he's saying it. I guess we can end it kind of right there, because this kind of goes along into the story. I'll go and continue with the author. So the author makes notes at the end. If you can see, like at the bottom here, the author makes their notes about, the author is making notes as well. And I'll make this one, and then we'll kind of start closing it up. How about that? The author says, if today's economic times have dealt you a blow, moving you toward poverty, that's me right now. Ooh, that's me right now, man. Man, can you imagine not getting a paycheck, bro? In today's society, bro? I'm moving closer to poverty. I have no income coming in. I'm in my 3rd month. We get paid twice a month with the railroad. We get paid on the 10th and the 25th. Today is the 6th. I am not going to get a check on the 10th, and I'm just guessing. I'm just going by what's happening right now. I'm not going to see one on the 25th. That would be 3 straight months with no pay. And now that the job, my railroad has me on the boards, I cannot technically apply for unemployment. Because technically they're having me on the board as working, although there is no work. If there is work, it's very limited, and it's not like come one, come all, put your name like that. We have lineups, if you will. And so technically I'm not even on a lineup right now, as of right now. So I'm in poverty right now. That's how I'm looking at it. I told you, I did a stream. I was like, I'm at war. This is war, bro. Google defined war as between states and nations and so on forth. I'm like, nah. This is war against me versus the fucking world right now. This is me versus the world. And if we can even make it even further and say this is me versus me right now. According to Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie, it's me versus me right now, because I have to unlock my other self. I have to unlock this. I have to free this so I can discover my true freedom and my success. So that's what I'm going to take from this. I have to unlock this. Let me read this last part. If today's economic time has dealt you a blow, moving you toward poverty, embarrassing you, or damaging your self-confidence, consider it a test, just as Napoleon Hill did in the late 1920s and early 1930s. Yes, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I think that's embarrassing, right? Women ain't gonna look at you. I told you earlier in the stream, I was like, yo, I'm not that guy. I'm not 6'8" the great. Women are not gonna come flock my way. So it's embarrassing. They're gonna look at me as a piece of shit. The world is gonna look at me as a piece of shit. Let's just be honest. We look at what the wealth that people have. If it ain't the wealth that you have, if you ain't got the money, do they look at you as, okay, cool, yeah, let's look at the genetic aspect of it. I'm not 6'8" the great. He ain't got to say a damn thing. Women just automatically, pussy get wet. Pussy, peace sleeve get wet, and they ready to go. I'm not 6'8" the great. So it's embarrassing. It's like, damn, okay, cool. Wow, I can't provide for myself? And it's damaging to my self-confidence. It's very damaging, because I'm like, damn, like, what the fuck? But this is powerful, Mo. It's powerful. The author is following up with Napoleon saying, force yourself to discover your other self. I'm forcing myself now. I'm forcing myself to find my other self, to get myself out of this shit. I'm not looking for no one else to get me out of this but me. Andrew Carnegie said it's within me. A successful guy said it's within the man. It's within the man. By working through the low points in your life and persevering, you can gain the insight needed to succeed. We're going to stop it right there, man. This was a powerful story, man, for chapter 1, man. Yeah, man. This is where I am. If you wanted to know me as a content creator and know about my life, this is where I am, man. This is where I'm fucking am, man. This is a low point in my life, man. But all I'm doing is restructuring my mindset, digging deep within myself, finding a purpose, another purpose, whatever the case may be. Digging deep, man, to finding my way up out of this. And I know I'm gonna find it, man. I'm gonna find it, yo. And I want you to witness it. I want you to witness it, yo. If you don't believe it, man, just watch me. Just watch me, yo. Just watch me. I'm going to unlock this, man. The secrets to freedom and success. I'm going to unlock this, bro. I'm going to be living proof. It worked for Napoleon Hill. Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men of our country, said it. Most men won't find it. I'm determined to find this, yo. I'm determined, yo. Man, I thank you for tuning into this stream, man. This is tough, man. It's emotional in a sense, man, because it's like, wow, like I got this fire. Andrew Carnegie is saying, I got this fire. Napoleon Hill is saying, yo, you got it within you, yo. You got it. The author Sharon Letcher is saying, you got it. They're saying the same shit that he was going through in the 1920s, and then now it's 2025, damn near 100 years later, same shit happening all over again. I got this, man. You're gonna witness it, man. If you're rocking with me, you're going to witness my greatness. As raw as this shit is, man, you're going to witness my greatness. And I'm glad to share this, yo. And that was the test that Napoleon Hill had. That was the test, because he was going out being a motivational speaker, if you will, talking about it's called the principles of something, he named it. And he was that guy, and he was, when he hit rock bottom, he was like, damn, man, that's kind of crazy that I would do these speeches, but here I am. And then that's one of the things that helped him click. He was like, yo, I'm going to speak about my other self. I'm going to demonstrate how I can do this. Ooh, another thing. I know I said I was going to quit, man. I know I said I was going to quit. That's a powerful. Let me say this powerful line too. But there was another small little thing too. From now on, you can speak with authority because you are about to rise above your own difficulties with courage and purpose, resolute and unafraid. That is me right now, man. I'm going to start speaking with confidence, man. I'm going to be more assertive. I'm assertive now in my saying. I'm assertive now, and I'm saying that I am going to be successful. I'm asserting it right now. I'm speaking my authority right now. From now on, you can speak with authority because you are about to rise above your own difficulties with courage and purpose, resolute and unafraid. I'm speaking that shit now, man. I'm speaking it now. This is the part that I wanted to highlight because I'll give a little small. Let me read the sentence first. The sentence is, we strongly. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh shit, where did he go? Yay. There's so many things I want to talk about. But anyway, in a nutshell, I can just kind of wrap it up in talking about what it is. It's so, the second time when Napoleon Hill was down and out, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna stand on my other self, discovering my other self, and getting his mindset changed. So he was like, I'm just gonna go to Philadelphia. He was like, fuck it, I'm going to Philadelphia. He didn't really know why he was going to Philadelphia. He didn't have any money. He was broke. So he asked his brother-in-law for $50. And his brother-in-law's like, man, you gonna need $100. And so he was like, damn, okay, the other self is kind of motivating me, kind of put me in position, to say, okay, I needed 50, but the other self and the laws of nature, whatever you want to call it, it knew that he needed more. And his brother-in-law was like, nah, you need $100. That $100. So he goes to Philadelphia. And so he was like, damn, where do I need to stay? And, mentally he was like, man, he was thinking like, man, I don't really have the money to do. He started it's not that he was intending to do this, but rationally, when you think about it, he was like, man, look, if I only got $100, I can't really go get the lavish things that I need. So I'm going to start penny pinching, right? That was his mental part start kicking in. But he was like, no. He was like, he got the finest hotel. And the author was like, do it rationally. Let me find that, because that's really important. That is fucking important. And I'm going to tell you how important that is to my personal life right now. I definitely want to find it, and then we'll end the stream. I did highlight it. We strongly be okay. Let me just read this part that I highlighted. It was becoming apparent that my other self was determined to wean me away from the inferiority complex which I had developed. And that's the part that I'm talking about. So I gave you the synopsis of the story because it's so much. I want to read the whole. Let me just read this whole thing, this section here. Let me read this because I want you to feel the story line of this, because it's so essential to what I'm going to talk about in my personal life. So he gets the money from his brother-in-law, and now he's set off. I left with my head telling me I was a fool and my other self commanding me to ignore the challenge and carry out my instructions. So his rational sense, if you will, is saying, man, you crazy for this shit. Like, you just go to fucking Philadelphia. You don't know anything. Like, you're just gonna go there. Why are you going there? And his mind was like that, but his other self was like, no, there's a purpose. There's a reason. Follow the instructions. So here it says, I drove all night, arriving in Philadelphia the next morning. My first thought was to look up a modestly priced boarding house where I could rent a room for about $1 a day, right? Then it says here again, my other self took charge and gave the command to register at the most exclusive hotel in the city, With a little more than $40 of my remaining capital in my pocket, it seemed like financial suicide when I marched up to the desk and asked for a room. Or rather, I should say, I started to ask for a room when my newly discovered other self gave the order to ask for a suite of rooms, the cost of which would about consume my remaining capital in 2 days. I obeyed. So he's listening to the other self to do this. Do this. I always end my streams, even in my gaming streams, I always end my fucking streams by saying, be kind to yourself. Treat yourself. The free agent lifestyle says that. Treat yourself. And it sounds crazy. You be like, bro, you ain't got that much money, man. You might want a penny pinch right now. I'll continue. The bellboy picked up my bags, handed me my claim check for my automobile, and bowed me toward the elevator as if I were the Prince of Wales. It was the first time in more than a year that any human being had shown me such difference. This is the part where I want you to, this is that sweet part right here. Listen to this, man. So you had the bellhop. They said the bellboy in the book, but it says Napoleon Hill is saying it was the first time in more than a year that any human, in more than a year that any human being had shown me such difference. The bellboy was like bowing, I guess, kind of, yes, sir, come this way, right? Here's something very essential. He says, my own relatives with whom I had been living, and I'm sure he might have been married. I read it that he had kids, so he might have been married. Even his own motherfucking wife wasn't treating him like this, bro. His own fucking wife wasn't showing him like yes, sir, like, damn, she wasn't even catering to the man. My own relatives with whom I had been living, far from having shown me difference, had, so I imagine, felt I was a burden on their hands. I'll reread that again. It was a bit choppy. My own relatives with whom I had been living, far from having shown me difference, had, so I imagine, felt I was a burden on their hands. And I am sure that I was, because no man in the frame of mind that I had been in for the past year could be anything other than a burden to all with whom he came into contact. So yeah, this was that down period. I just told you earlier where he didn't have any money. He got stuck in one city, and then the second part where things were starting to start working for him, and then the dude that was investing in him got murdered. Then he had to leave, and he was in fear of his life, and so on and so forth. So yeah, but still, in the sense, his own wife. I'm assuming he was married. Yes, he was married. He was married. His wife wasn't supportive. She still wasn't speaking life into him. He says right here, his own relatives. They didn't show him that. They didn't show him that kind of, his own folks didn't show him that. I told you he was doing successful things. I'll continue, man. It was becoming apparent that my other self was determined to wean me away from the inferiority complex which I had developed. I tossed the bellboy $1. I started to estimate what my hotel bill would be by the end of the week, when my other self commanded me to get my mind entirely off all of the thoughts of limitation and to conduct myself for the first time just as I would if I had all the money I wanted in my pockets. I'll continue. The experience I was passing through was both new and strange to me. This is new and strange. The experience I was passing through was both new and strange to me. How could that be when you were so successful in the past? But this is new to him. I had never posed as being anything other than what I believed myself to be. For nearly half an hour, this other self gave orders which I followed to the letter during the subsequent period of my stay in Philadelphia. The instructions were given through the medium of thoughts, which presented themselves in my mind with such force that they were readily distinguishable from my ordinary self-created thoughts. And then the author says Hill took on the persona of a wealthy man he wanted to be. The author says, we strongly agree that to be wealthy, you need to think wealthy. It is also important to be in the right environment. That is essential. That is what I wanted to talk about. So it sounds crazy to be like, I want to save. I'm going to save penny pinch because I'm a little short on money. It seems logical. It seems reasonable. Okay, I'm a penny pinch just a little bit, and then I can get by to the next day or the next week, and at the end of the week, it sounds feasible. But the other self is like, no. And the author says the same thing. To be wealthy, you have to think wealthy. You have to put yourself in wealthy environments, rich environments. You have to put yourself there. You have to put yourself in the opportunity. How does that relate to my life? So my second time going to Seattle, I love fucking Seattle, Washington. I love that area, and I want to learn a lot more about that area. It's expensive being in that area. My first very time, I had a hotel in SeaTac. SeaTac is okay. My hotel was okay. Nice room. I mean, the nice king size room. I mean, the room was very spacious. It was nice. So I did meet up with the JUCO. Had a great time. I wanted to see her again. I was like, yo, that was a really good time. Talk about that stamina. So the second time, I was like, man, I need to do something for myself. I wasn't treating myself. And once again, I was on furlough. But I was like, I need to treat myself, man. I've never done anything nice for myself. So this second time, before I went to Seattle, I went back home to H-Town. I hadn't been home in H-Town in years. And I treated myself. I experienced Houston in a different way that I have never. And I'm from H-Town, born and raised. I had a hotel downtown. The view was awesome. I mean, it was a different experience. The people were pleasant to me. Not saying that other hotels are not pleasant, but the experience. I had a first class flight from Houston to Seattle. That was a mind-blowing experience for me. My very first time being in first class was when I left the military basic training. No, I'm sorry, tech school. I was leaving tech school. I didn't know anything about flying. That was my very first time flying. And I had just bought a ticket. And I believe it was with Delta. Got a ticket. Whoop-de-doo. I'm in my dress blues. I'm fresh out of tech school. So I'm. And so I walked to the lady. I didn't know. I just handed her my ticket. And she looked at me and she just took my ticket. She did some things. She handed me back my ticket. And I didn't know. So I'm just following my orders, okay, all right, I got this. And she said, thank you for your service. And so I was like, yes, ma'am, and all that good stuff. And so I had my ticket and then followed my area. And I was at the very front of the plane, first class. And I didn't know this. I did not know this. This was my very first time on a plane. So I'm sitting there, I'm all green, and, and the lady was like, would you like anything? I mean, she was very attentive, the stewardess, if I think that's what you call it. I have no idea about the titles. Please forgive me. And so I didn't know. I was like, no, I don't need anything. And I was just nervous, and I was next to a lady, a black lady, older black lady, and she may have talked to me. I have no idea, but I was just like, just like just nervous and shit. And then it wasn't until later I was like, oh, I was on first class. Wow, okay, wow. I was like, damn, and that was my only time riding first class. So I was like, yo, I'm furloughed. I want to do things essential for my life. Like, yo, I need to boss up 2025. Coach, shout out to Coach Greg Adams. Shout out to the Coach Gang. Like, our motto to each other is like, boss the fuck up, man. Stop settling for short shit. Stop settling for mediocrity, man. So this time, I was like, bro, I'm furloughed. I'm like, bro, I need to use this opportunity to do something for myself, man. Because I had been working with the railroad and now I'm furloughed. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck, man? I was like, last time I was furloughed and I was like, I was just sad and shit, trying to chase work and it didn't work for me. I was sad. And I was like, yo, I got to do something positive for myself. I need this, bro. I need this, man. So anyway, I said all that to say, I took a class. I didn't take a first class from. I live in northern Wyoming. I didn't take a first class flight from here because our airport is very small. So I had to take the economy, and our stop was in Denver. And so I got my ticket late, so I had to take an economy to Houston, right? But my first class flight from Houston to Seattle was first class, and I was like, wow. My mind was blown, bro. I was like, I'm going to experience this shit. And it was amazing, bro. Like, I was comfortable. I get to watch television. I had meals. I didn't even know. Because when I bought my ticket, I saw it. It said this ticket comes with a meal, but I didn't register it. Once again, this is my second time, and my second time taking a first class flight, but this is the first time that I actually realized it was first class. So when I got the ticket, it said, you're going to have a meal. So I was like, damn. And I totally forgot about it. It's so crazy about this. So excuse me one second, let me get a little water. This is my story time. And this is going to, in regards to the experience that Napoleon Hill and the other self. So anyway, I was with my mom and, hanging with my mom and my grandmother. And they still live in the hood. They still live on the south side or whatever. And my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm hungry. I want to buy you some food. Let me give my grandmother something to eat while I'm here. And so in the hood, there's no quality food. There's only shit ass food. I'm not gonna say no names because I don't want nobody coming after me. But fast food, I'm talking about shit food. And I'm like, damn. My mom said, hey, well, why don't we try this one place? It's in the hood, but she was like, they serve some somewhat good food. We went to that place. That place was closed. It was a dude outside. It was like, hey, they ain't got no water. They closed. We was like, damn. So we didn't really eat anything. But I was like, damn. Let me give my grandmother something, shit. And she likes Whataburger. Shout out to Whataburger. And so we got her some Whataburger. But I didn't eat. One place that I recommended, my mom was like, yeah, that's way, if you know anything about Houston, Houston is the fourth largest city in the United States. So she was like, yeah, that's way across town. I was like, yeah, oh, wow, we're not doing that. So I didn't eat. I told my mom, I was like, well, I'll just grab something at the airport. I wasn't thinking. I was just like, yeah, I'll just grab something at the airport. So she took me to the airport, tell my mom I love her, I'm not sure when I'll be going back to Houston. I don't want to go back to Houston no time soon. Anyway, so I get to the airport, and I'm looking at the flight. I'm like, damn, oh shit, I got a little time. I got there on time. The experience, like with I had the little the little pass thing. So I just go straight, hey, show you my thing. And I didn't have to go through all the long lines and shit. So I was like, wow, this is a really great experience that I'm having. So anyway, I'm at the airport, and I was like, well, I got a lot of time. So I was like, fuck it. Let me grab something to eat. So I went to Landry's. If you from H-Town, you know about Landry's and all that. So I went to Landry's and I was like, well, I got time. Let me grab something to eat. But I was like, for me, I'm older now, so I don't want fast food. I don't want no hamburgers and pizza. I don't want that bullshit. I want a man's meal, you know? So I was like, fuck it. I didn't know what to get. And so the lady at the front, I was like, can you help me? I was like, what would you recommend? And so she started naming some stuff. She was like a hamburger, some shit like that. I was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. She was like, why don't you try filet mignon? And I was like, yeah, let me get that. I was like, let me get that, yo. I've never had filet mignon. Like, I always hear it. You know, I've seen some movies where they make fun of the name and shit like that. I think it was with Tommy Davis, and it was a movie, Filag Mignon, something like that. He was like, he had all the goals in his mouth. Oh, I want to say it was Joanna Man. And but anyway, so the lady recommended filet mignon, and I was like, this is my first time ever having it. I don't know what to expect. And so she was like, all right, cool. And so she sat me down. The waiter comes and he's like, what can I get you? I was like, I want the filet mignon, right? And so he was like, how would you like it? I was like, oh shit, I'm freaking out. Once again, this is my very first time. I'm bossing the fuck up. And so he's saying this and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. You know, I want to do something different. Usually for us common folk, let me say it that way. I'm going to say it that way. We say we want our shit well done. But I was like, yo, I don't want to do that. I want to be different. I want to level up. So I was like, let me get it medium rare. Said it with confidence, medium rare. And he told me, he was like, what would you like on the side? I was like, let me try it with rice. I put it on my social media. I should link y'all up to it anyway. And so he was like, all right, I got it coming up. Had water with it. And so I looked it up. I was like, how do you eat filet mignon? Because I didn't want to eat it all improper. So what they said on Google is you have to have your fork in your right hand and you have you have your knife in your right hand and your fork in the left hand. And then you have to cut it in a zigzag manner. So I was trying it. So anyway, loved it. I was a little nervous. I was scared. But I was like, fuck it, man. Eat that shit. I ate it. I was like, man, this shit ain't too bad, man. Like, I've been freaking out this whole time with the sight of blood and shit. You know how us common folk, we like to have our shit well done. I was like, yo, medium rare is really good. It's not bad at all, man. So I was like, cool. So the filet mignon was just like a nice hunk of beef, if you will. And I had some rice. So I ate it because I had forgotten about the dinner that I had on the first class flight to Seattle. And this was a late flight too. So I forgot about it. So when I'm in first class, the lady, I'm listening because I'm learning. This is my first time in first class, knowing I'm in first class. And so she was like, what would you like to have for dinner? You know, she was asking all the people in front of me. I was like in 3A. And so she finally I was like, okay, I was ready. She was like, we having blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'll have the chicken breast, the grilled chicken. And I was like, oh man, it was so awesome. My meal was so amazing, yo. It was such a great experience, bro. I'm watching television. I was watching Beverly Hills Cop because I was seeing it on my TikTok. And I was like, shit, let me watch the movie, you know. It was a great experience, bro. I'm putting myself in position. So I'm pretty sure people was like, who is this motherfucker? I'm me. I'm Monk. I'm bossing up, right? So I get to Seattle. I link up with the JUCO. She met me at the airport. And so we took an Uber. I booked my hotel. It wasn't in SeatTac this time. I booked my hotel in Seattle. Where did I book it? 4 fucking Seasons. Blew my entire experience way out the water. I've never had this type of experience with a hotel. This was a 4-star hotel. 4-star hotel, man. The experience was amazing. Just how Napoleon Hill talks about the bellhop, he's accurate, bro. He's not lying. The people were super generous. Like even before I even got to the airport or to the hotel, days in advance, the people were keeping up with me. Hey, Mr. Wilson. Oh shit, I didn't tell you my goddamn government name. Hey man, don't dox me, man. Be easy, baby. Chill, man. So anyway, they texted me, hey, do you need anything? Let us know if you need anything. What accommodations do you need? They were keeping tabs on me. If I had a question, I texted to them. They immediately hit me back. I was like, yo, this is a really great experience. Get to the hotel, the bellhop, very professional there. You know, I mean, it was the hotel is awesome. The staff was awesome. The experience was awesome. I got there just a little over midnight. So I missed it where you can put your breakfast menu, you can check what you want for breakfast and hang it on your door and they'll just bring it to you. We missed it because you had to do it right before midnight, right? So I wake up with the JUCO, you know, we do our thing. I mean, JUCO is like hormones. Yeah. So, I ordered the breakfast and they pushed out I'm thinking they're gonna just hand me the breakfast, like, you know, at the door. Nah. The lady comes in with the tray, the JUCO naked under the covers, because I'm thinking they're gonna hand it to me. I open the door, the lady, she walks right in. Whoop, she walked right in with the cart. JUCO in the bed, she naked under the covers. She looked at me like, oh shit. So that lets me know that this was her first time too. Lady comes in, the lady was professional. She was like, oh, good morning, you know, just, you know, setting everything up. Breakfast was phenomenal, man. The service was great. I mean, everything was top notch, man. I was like, wow. I'm saying all that to say Napoleon Hill was right. The other self is correct. You're putting yourself in position with wealthy people. You don't know what can come of these opportunities. Now, I went back to Seattle recently for my third time. I love Seattle, man. Met up with another JUCO, right? And so the JUCO lives off on an island somewhere. And mentally, I wasn't thinking, because once again, I'm still learning Seattle. And so mentally, when she said she's at this island, I'm thinking the ferry was going to go right, like take a little beeline right to this location. And so I was like, all right, I'll just get a hotel right here. Not knowing the ferry, because I've never taken a ferry. And let me tell you about that experience. So the ferry has a certain port that it goes to. I was like, damn. And so eventually I went to go pick up the JUCO. I picked her up and I was like, oh, okay, this is where you get the ferry. Because the first JUCO that I had from the first 2 times, she takes the ferry from her island too. So I was like, damn, okay, I didn't really understand the ferry process. Anyway, so I pick up the second JUCO downtown, and she's beautiful too. 6'1", white, of course. Man, I wish I had my clip. What a white baby that. Man, 6'1", beautiful, pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. I was like, oh. Anyway, so I'm saying all this to say that I had my hotel. It wasn't the 4-star hotel. This hotel was in northern Seattle. And I'm learning about Seattle too. So I was like, it's not such a bad thing. It wasn't the great experience that I had with Four Seasons, right? So I learned about a lot about more of Seattle. I was like, oh man. So I learned about the Aurora. I learned about Aurora. And yeah, you can see the street meat out there. I did some self-care because I thought the JUCO was going to flake on me. So I went and got some self-care. Man, so shout out to the nail tech lady. Took care of me, yo. Service was still awesome, man. It wasn't bad. It was just, it was just threw me off, right? But the service was great. I went to the YMCA out there in northern Seattle. Worked out. Everything was fine. The JUCO, was like she's feeling well, so we end up, so we went to the hotel and everything. The hotel was fine. The hotel was a great experience, but it wasn't like the Four Seasons. And I told the JUCO, I was like, hey, if we, if we see each other again, let me do the hotel this time. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. Because I was like, I didn't tell her this, but in my mind, I'm like, the Four Seasons has set a tone for me, a standard, because the service is so amazing, man. I bossed up for myself. My other self kicked in like, yo, man, you deserve this, bro. You deserve this. Now, I want to be mindful about my finances. Once again, I have not gotten paid, and this is my 3rd month. So I do want to be mindful about that. However, I want to put myself in positions like Napoleon Hill, like, yo, I have to put myself in these positions to seek these opportunities. And with this, that I didn't mention, Napoleon Hill put himself in a position to where he had a list of names of successful people that he knew was like, yo, that can help him. And this other self was like, I need you to write a list of these names, and you're going to reach out to these people. And it's going to be a person that's going to reach out to you and give you what you need. And you have to talk with a business mindset. You can't go in half-stepping, and you can't go in talking about my other self. Go in with the business mindset. Use the terminology. It says that. Use the term. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. It says, in your approach, however, present your request in terminology such as you would use in the usual course of business transactions. Make no reference whatsoever to this introduction you have had to your other self. If you violate these instructions, you will meet your temporary defeat. So yes. So mentally, the other self is saying, yo, you're here. You're here. Let's start putting this shit in motion now. Start talking business now. I'm saying all that to say is that now for myself mentally, now I have to continue to strive to put myself in great positions. And I got to start talking the talk and walking the walk. I can't keep having this poor mindset of saying, well, I'm a penny pinch just to get by. And I can't have that. I can't have that. I'm not doing it to keep up with the Joneses. No, I'm doing this for myself because I deserve it. And 2, to put myself in the position so I can get the opportunity. If that makes any sense. I hope that did. All right. I talked quite a bit, man. I talked quite a bit. I just wanted to share that, man. This was this came at a sweet moment, man. Like, I just can't express how down I was, man. Like, mentally, I was down because I was like, man, I don't have a way. I just don't know. I was like, man, I'm sad. Like, I was getting in that mindset, that funk. Because I was like, damn, like, man, like, I was in the funk. But now I'm like, nah. My other self is like, nah, bro. Nah, we're going to find the way. We are going to find the way. We're doing it right now, man. I'm glad to be streaming. This is a part of my journey to stream. Someone is going to see this message, man. Someone is going to see this message. Just like this book. Like when Andrew Carnegie was saying to Napoleon Hill, yeah, you're finding about what makes people successful and unsuccessful. Yeah, that's fine. But he was like, yo, I'm going to put you on something that's not going to only help you now, but it's going to help someone in the future, which is me. So I'm thankful Andrew Carnegie for putting Napoleon Hill in that mindset. Like, yo, do you want to just do what you're doing, which is fine, but do you want to do something greater than what you had even planned? So I'm with that mindset now because I'm like, yo, okay, I'm going to pull myself up out of this situation, this economic turmoil that I'm facing. I'm going to pull myself up out this shit. And it's going to be tremendous. And I'm going to share that information Like when I opened up my stream, I was like, I like to seek and share wisdom. I'm gonna share this wisdom with someone that's gonna see this, and they're gonna be like, damn. They might not even read the book, but they might hear me say the other self. Men, we have this in us. We have it in us. Andrew Carnegie said, majority of us won't even know it. I'm here to share with you and myself that we have it in us. It is up to us to unlock this. I'm unlocking mine. Mine is unlocked now, and now it's time for me to start putting everything in motion. Now it's time for me to get rid of the bullshit, the limitation mindset, and start thinking. I've already started doing it. I just got caught, and that's one thing that that Napoleon Hill said. It's gonna always be there. That limitation mindset is gonna always follow along, and it's only gonna affect me if I allow it to affect me. And that's the thing. I allow it to affect me because I got upset. I was like, man, these AI creators and all of the big beautiful bill and all of these things, man. My job, I started letting all that stuff get heavy on my mind, start limiting myself. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to unlock my other self, and I'm going to find a way. You can do the same thing. You might not believe me, but you're going to watch me right now. You're going to watch me do this. You're going to be on my journey right now. Welcome to my journey. Welcome to my journey. I thank you for being a part of my journey. You're going to witness some greatness. All right? That's the end of my stream. I really appreciate that. Watch me on my journey, man. You're going to be amazed because I'm already amazed. I don't know how and all that good stuff, but I know it's going to be amazing. Napoleon Hill didn't know about driving to Philadelphia. He didn't know. His other self knew. My other self knows. I'm just on board. I'm just following along, following my instructions. All right. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hit the like button before you go. Send me some comments and subscribe to me, baby. Man, as always, peace. Peace of mind within my other self. And as always, treat yourself, man. Be kind to yourself. The world ain't gonna be kind to you. We saw that with Napoleon Hill. His own fucking family wasn't being kind to him. So the world is not gonna be kind to you. Don't expect the world to be kind to you. Expect yourself to be kind to you. Accept myself to be kind to myself. All right? As always, peace.
Just let me eat you. One term. You gonna sleep for 3 days, my baby. I'm gonna make you cry.
How you gonna show us?
Ay, ay, ay!